name's Jason Halsey. I'm one of the solicitor advocates here. I'm a High Court advocate. I deal in criminal law, court martial, and I work from the Portsmouth office. They are different. There are some similarities and some dissimilarities. Probably best to take it chronologically. So if you are arrested in the streets of Portsmouth, you'll be taken to the police station, you'll be interviewed by the police, charged, and then you'll go to the magistrate's court, and depending on the seriousness of the offence, you may end up in the Crown Court. Most of the service offences we deal with tend to be relatively minor, so you will be asked to attend an interview with the Royal Navy Police, the Eastern Police Headquarters on the naval base. They will interview you. They will then make a decision whether there is sufficient evidence to charge. If there is, depending on the seriousness of the offence, it might be dealt with by summary proceedings, which is akin to the magistrate's court in civilian life. If it's a serious allegation, it will go to a court martial, which is rather like going to a Crown Court in civil proceedings. So if you're a service person and you are asked to come in for an interview, you'll be interviewed by the service police, and as I said earlier, they will make a decision as to whether or not there is sufficient evidence to charge. It's a very low threshold, so if you are initially charged, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be convicted. They will refer your case to the Service Prosecution Authority, which is like the CPS, and they will then make the decision as to whether or not there is sufficient evidence to put you before either the court martial or to refer you to your commanding officer. As I said earlier, most of the cases we get called out to are relatively minor offences: breach of standing orders, drunkenness on duty, minor theft, spinal assaults, and if you're charged with those, you will generally end up in front of your commanding officer at the captain's table. You will have the opportunity, if you want to elect trial before a court martial. If it's a serious offence, it will go before a court martial. A court martial is a trial in effect by a judge advocate and a jury, but in service proceedings it's a panel made up of 3 to 7 commissioned or warrant officers, and they will then try the case. As in civil proceedings, the judge advocate is the arbiter of the law, and the panel will decide on the facts. If you're convicted at the captain's table, your commanding officer will have a number of sentencing options open to him. In effect, they can dock your salary, they can order detention, I think, for up to 28 days. It's a different matter in a court martial. A court martial is like being convicted in a Crown Court, and they have the whole armoury of sentencing powers that a Crown Court has, as well as other sentences that are unique to service law. For instance, you can be sent to Colchester. The detention there, you can be reduced in the ranks, you can be dismissed from service with or without dishonour. And that, a conviction by a court martial is going to have a great effect. You, as I said, can be discharged from the services, it could affect your pension, a conviction will affect attempts in civilian life to get employment, for instance. So it's very important that if you are asked to come in for an interview by the Navy, that you seek independent legal advice. It's an intimidating thing, being asked in for an interview. It's frightening, and if you have no experience of it, it's especially frightening. So it's important that you're represented and you have somebody there who knows what they're doing and who can properly advise you. And most of the time when you're in the police station, the service police station, you'll be entitled to legal aid. It will be free, it will be independent legal advice, and you will no doubt be eligible for legal aid if you are charged and taken to court martial.